Let's take a minute to hear a word from our sponsor for this week's Ag Report, Elite Tire.
Elite Tire and Automotive. Ever have one of those days you just need a little hand? Well, with our remote services, we'll just hop right on it. Get you back on the road quick and easy. With automotive services to cover all your mechanical needs. Need that state inspection done? Well, we can do that too. So roll on in and see a friendly face. Give us a call and we can be right on the spot to assist you. So trust the friendly folks down at Elite Tire and Automotive, 972-775-1055.
Now let's join our host, John Paul Dineen, in the studio with this week's Ag Report.
Howdy folks, welcome to this week's Ag Report. So this week we're going to talk a little bit about one of my favorite beverages, milk. I'm one of those folks that I like, milk for breakfast, like milk as a snack. I like it for lunch. I like it for supper. And then I usually have to have a little bit before I go to bed at night. But that's kind of me. Even when it's hot outside, when I'm hot, some cold, ice cold milk is very refreshing to me. I know I can hear y'all through the camera. There's some out there going, holy smoke, how do you drink that when it's hot, hot outside? But anyways, my body just doesn't function very good unless I've got milk. So wanted to kind of share with y'all a neat opportunity that I had. I was able to talk with the owners of Volleman's Dairy in Gustine, Texas. Was able to go through the dairy, and then they have a unique niche that they have as well. They have a bottling facility that just opened up. So I was able to go through that. So I want to kind of give you all a little snapshot of some of the stuff that I got to see, and really some of the amazing engineering and technology that is a part of all of this that you may not think about. So, they strive to make their cows, the cattle, as comfortable as possible, because they when they are comfortable, when they are fed, when their nutritional needs are met, then they're going to produce the best and most quantity of milk. Okay. It's kind of like yourself or a runner on a race. When that runner hasn't had good food the days before and stuff like that, they're not going to perform very well on race day if they didn't get a good sleep the night before, that kind of stuff. So you kind of can correlate what I'm talking about there. So some of the things that I thought was really, really neat. We were in the barn where the cattle get fed, and very large facility. And normally around here, when you see a very large, building, it generally has kind of a two sloped roof, or it may be just a flat roof like a warehouse, something like that. A lot of the big rodeo arenas at the cowboy churches and stuff, they'll just have a two slant on the roof. Okay. And I got to looking at the roof a little bit. This is before Frank was sharing about the engineering of the building, and I noticed that it kind of went up and then came down, and then it would go over and go up again and come down, and it looked like a building that had been added on to over the years for growth. I was like, okay, well they started with this size, and then they grew. Well, then he kind of explained what was going on there. Now, before he explained what was going on, we had been outside. This was in the afternoon. It was full sun, and it was pretty hot and toasty out there. When we came into the building, immediately was a drastic temperature drop and a breeze, and that's important. There was a breeze blowing, and it was very comfortable. Well, then he kind of shared how that happens. So on one side of the barn, they have rows of fans. and they draw air out. Okay. On the other end of the building where we came in at, y'all have seen at maybe your restaurants that have a patio eating area or sporting events, the football players down on the field, fans with misters blowing. They blow that mist and it kind of creates a little bit of a cool air. So on the edge of the barn where the air comes in were these little misters in there. So it's kind of cooling that air. He went on to tell us that those rise and falls that I had been noticing in the building were engineered specifically to change the air speed. As the air comes in and it goes up and comes down, it picks up speed. And that was creating that breeze that I was feeling. The other neat kind of thing was the cattle. I believe they call them stanchions, I think, where they bring their head through and they are able to eat. It gives a place where it's on concrete. They can kind of row the feed up there, and then the cow can just reach right through and eat it. Well, while they're eating that, there is a water pipe just above their heads that has nozzles, kind of like sprinklers at your house. Well, about every 20 minutes or so, these nozzles turn on and they wet the cows down. Well, with that breeze blowing through there, when they get wetted down, that creates a cooling effect, much like you jumping in a swimming pool or something like that. And then you feel that breeze and you feel that coolness across. So all of that put together cools that barn down considerably and makes those cattle feel very comfortable. I mean, it's probably like a day at the beach for them in there. So they were enjoying it. And I say day at the beach kind of jokingly. So in a building like that, you need bedding for the cattle to kind of lounge around on and stuff. In a lot of cases, the dairies will use straw, like wheat straw, as the bedding. And then as the manure incorporates into the straw, they take that out, compost it, and that kind of stuff. Well, a unique thing that they're doing at their dairy is where they are in Comanche County it's a sandy soil, not black land like we have. And y'all may remember your history talking about the Dust Bowl of the 1930s. And there were dust storms in the 1930s. The 30s were plagued with a lot of drought. And so high winds would come through. They would pick up that sand and they would blow it. You've probably seen pictures of sandstorms blowing in the 1930s. It also created drifts, much like a snow drift, but it was a sand drift on fences, tree lines, that kind of stuff. One of the unique things they're doing is they are going and they are getting that sand that blew in the 1930s up against tree lines, that kind of stuff. They're using that for the bedding. So when the manure gets incorporated into that sand and it's no longer usable, they take that out of the barn. They put it back in a manure spreader, which is a machine to broadcast it out because, now this sand is rich in nutrients and it's good for fertilizer. But what's kind of cool is they've taken that sand from the 1930s that blew out of the field. It now has nutrients back in it, and they're putting it back into their fields where they raise their crops, back where it came from 80 years ago, which I thought was kind of cool. How they were using, something that was a detriment at the time, and it's turning into a benefit, and they're putting it back into the field, helps their fertility, that kind of stuff. The dairy is a really neat deal. It's a family operation. They've been there, I believe, since 1995. Their kids have incorporated into the dairy now. They're grown, and one of them is in charge of the crop production. Mainly, that would be corn that they chop for silage that goes back into feed for those cattle. Another one, he's in charge of the bottling facility. That's kind of what he runs. One of the daughters-in-law is in charge of the marketing, and you can see the cute little logo that they've got here. That's her artwork and marketing that they have there. Another unique thing that they do is, I don't know if you can hear that, that's a glass bottle. They are using glass bottles for their milk. A couple of reasons, why they are looking to do that. One is the taste, the quality and taste of the milk in a glass bottle. It tastes better and different than a plastic bottle because it holds in that flavor better than a plastic container does. They also do it that way so that they can recycle that stuff. So there is a deposit on the glass bottle that you pay the one time, but as long as you return it back just rinsed out, then it goes back to the dairy. I was able to tour the facility and see the bottle washing machine, which is kind of interesting, a little interesting fact. So a lot of the bottles stopped being used in milk production probably in the early 60s, something like that, when it kind of started transitioning over to plastic. So when they were looking to start using bottles and you finding a bottle washing machine, they was very hard to find. There is no, really new production of that. So he was telling me that the one that they found and rebuilt was built in 1940. And so it was kind of interesting to hear some of that old technology, coming back to wash the bottles again. But it was really neat. So they milk it at their dairy. They transport it just a couple of miles to the bottling facility that they have. It comes in there. They pasteurize it. They separate the cream, and then it goes through. They make their own chocolate flavoring. They make their own strawberry flavoring. They also have a cappuccino milk flavor. So it goes down that production line. If they're going to add a flavor, then they'll add that flavor. They do pints, quarts, and half gallons. They also have a heavy cream that they make. So if you're cooking, or maybe you like that in your coffee in there, all different kind of unique products, but it's all run by the family. Like say one of the sons runs that. But in the automation, we were looking at a screen, and on that screen, it almost looked like kind of like you were watching a cartoon. So there's white lines that are running through there. That obviously means where the milk is flowing. There were red lines that meant where the hot water was flowing through for different wash stations and things like that. Blue lines for cold water running through. It had the tanks that held the milk, and the separators and different things, just all on this screen. You could see at any given time exactly what was going on through the facility. Really neat, state of the art facility that they had going there. So it comes right through there, goes in. We got to see it being bottled, and the caps being put on, comes right off the line. And then, just like, you've seen in the older days, goes right into those crates, packaged in there. And then those crates go into that chiller. And then very shortly after, they have their own bobtail trucks to deliver them. They go into those trucks. The deposit bottles come back in, full bottles go back out, go back through the wash cycle, and round and round we go. But really a neat experience. Neat to go through the dairy and just see the care that they give for those animals, all the way through, whether it's their nutrition, the creature comforts, trying to cool them off on a hot day, that kind of stuff. Really neat, the foresight or the idea to kind of bring that worthless sand in and then put it back into the field with nutrients on there. Just really a neat experience. So anyways, I hope y'all have enjoyed this ag report, and I've enjoyed sharing with you about it, and I really enjoyed having a firsthand experience getting to go through there and meet this family. spent the better part of a day with them and just sitting down, chatting with them, talking about, agriculture. Even though they're in a dairy and I'm a row crop producer, and cow calf, we have a lot of things, in common. Our goals are the same. They try to advocate for agriculture just like I do with y'all. They do it on their dairy. They're very open and they try to explain and share what it is they do on a day-to-day basis. So I sure appreciate that, and I appreciate y'all tuning in and let me share this with y'all. If y'all have any questions, reach out to the Waxahachie Sun and get you a big old glass of milk when you need to cool off there. Y'all take care now.